big circuit, the Nagyat ring, which is absolutely insane. I'm Arjun Shah and I'm joined alongside Suraj Shah. So welcome on board. It's great to have you. How are you, my friend?
I'm all good, mate. How are you been?
Oh well, so it's exciting to see this new F1 2020 game. It's going to be an absolute cracker. We've got 20 of India's best taking on each other over two very, very special races. And this is UltimateE and Evo India magazine. And we bring you Ultimate Evo's virtual GP. As always, the first race, we're going to have a one-shot qualifying. It's going to be followed by a 5-lap race, and race number 2. This is where it gets interesting, and a lot of the guys in the back come up, and a lot of the guys in the back do some very, very interesting things to bring their names up to the top. Where we're going to have a reverse of the top 8 and a 25% race distance, and this will be a mandatory pit stop. So it's going to be really exciting to see what the strategies are. And we are here at this point in time where we just started off with qualifying. Of course, it's a one-shot qualifying. So each of these guys are racing their cars on their own, on their loan, so putting in their time. So in the next 2 minutes, we're going to see how the grid shapes up for race number 1 on this 5-lap GP. And what makes it more interesting this Saturday evening are the prizes with Evo India magazine on board. The overall winner will win a t-shirt from Evo India, 100-kilometer merchandise line, and a 1-year subscription to the Evo India magazine. The viewers, there's going to be a live quiz during the races, so don't go anywhere because you've got prizes to win as well. And we will be putting up questions in our chat box, in our commentary box, on our YouTube and Twitch channels. So stay tuned and watch over there as well when the questions come up. So it's going to be great to watch, and it's going to be great to have all you guys over here. But coming back into where we are right now, Sohil, we've got an absolute brilliant cast of characters. Let me quickly take you to the top 20 that's qualified through Friday and made it through to race today at the Hungaro ring, where we have Ashvin Lakhwani, Karnav, Amaan Abdullah, Arun K, Arjun Shah, Aditya P, Rajdeep Paul, Tanay Singh, Brandon Zachariah, Siddharth Venkatesh, Aarya, Dillon Zachariah, Suraj, Pradyumna, Sid Kulkarni, Kaushik, Aditya K, Akhil, Aditya K, and Rahul Shah are the top guys that are going to be taking the battle to each other. And the qualifying now, as we just get down with it, we've got Ashvin Lakhwani that looks like he's taken pole, and Aditya P in second place, and Arun Shah in third place. And there's absolutely nothing in it when you look at the times separating the top 8 at the moment. So.
Yeah, we had a bunch of wonderful names come back up, and they've always been there with us. We've got some new names as well, and it's good to see them all come and have some strong showing going on. And I just want to point out that as we came out of the last corner, I think the last 4-5 drivers tried to extend as much as they could and use as much track as they could, because that's where everyone got disqualified. And I think that's going to be a very important role in some of them, because some of them are really quick who have been disqualified for the track extension, and the way that's going to play out is going to be very important.
Yeah, because like you said, track extension, corner cutting here is strict. Of course, safety car is on and damage is reduced. So we're going to see some of these guys crash and burn first corner, because this track, the Hungaro ring, an old school circuit, bumpy, twisty. It's basically Monaco without the buildings. First race here was 1986, a 4.3 kilometer circuit, 14 corners, tight and twisty like I said before. It had duels between Piquet and Senna, Schumacher and Hakkinen, and the many legends that have raced on this racing circuit ever since 1986. It's got a long main straight, it's almost a kilometer long, 908 meters. So great slipstream and overtaking action that we're going to be treated to down there when the race gets going. Of course, pole here, never ever say ever, because pole here, very rare that they win a race. But second place onwards and third place, especially 600 meters so down to turn number 1, it's going to get really exciting on that first lap.
Yeah, it's one of the longest start-finish race that we have from the start line to turn 1. As most of our viewers watching Formula 1 in today's gen, as we have the qualifying just ended today at Hungaroring, mentioned that it is the 5th longest start-finish straight on the F1 calendar. So it is pretty long, not short at all. A lot of action coming up towards us, and I think we're facing a glitch right now, and we'll just sort that out in the meantime. But coming back to the action, we did see real life pole Lewis Hamilton take it at 1 minute 13.4, and we've seen lap times of 1 minute 15. So is it the drivers, or do you think it's the game? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, you've got to come. It comes down to the driver. So you, as a racing driver, definitely know what that's all about because it definitely comes down to driver skill. Because all these guys are on absolute equal cars today. When you look at Hamilton, the Mercedes, he's definitely one of the fastest cars in a real track in a real world situation. But these guys here racing absolutely equal cars on equal turf. And it all comes down to driving skill. And from what we've seen from people like Ashvin, Pradyumna Prakash, Arjun Shah, these guys super quick in the last times out. But this time, the new F1 2020 game, they've hardly had any time to get used to this, haven't they?
Yeah, I've also heard that the games are very different to Formula 1 2019, the previous edition, and I'm really curious to know on how these drivers are getting along because I'm pretty sure there were faster times taking place on the previous edition as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you're absolutely right with that, Sir, because these guys are going to get quicker and quicker as they get a lot more practice. So when we do have races like this as we go through the next couple of weeks, we're definitely going to see the times dropping when we come back to circuits that we visited once before. So let's keep an eye on that when we come back here in a couple of weeks. But of course, the top 20 drivers in India. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is UltimateE and Evo India magazine presents the Ultimate Evo Virtual GP. This is on the PlayStation 4 with the F1 2020 game, and we're racing at the Hungaroring. At this present point in time, we're just going to go into race number 1, where one shot quali has just finished. It's going to be a 5-lap race, and then we go to race number 2, where we do a 25% of the entire race distance. And it's going to be a reverse grid, the top 8. So this is where it's going to get super interesting, so because a lot of the times we've seen some absolute surprises, and absolute surprise names that take it all the way to the top that we don't normally see racing at the top of the field.
Yeah, definitely. Plus, the top guys. I've played this game as well, and it is a lot easier to make mistakes in this compared to the previous edition. So that is another good point that we can keep an eye out on, and that's definitely going to be a key factor as it was earlier on today.
Absolutely, because that's absolutely like you said. So it's going to be an absolute key factor, and I think you hit the nail on the head with that when you said it. Because we've also got these really fast guys like Brandon Zachariah, that we see his brother Dillon Zachariah, Rajdeep Paul. You've raced against some of these guys as well on the PC, on the iRacing series and whatnot. So some of these guys, they're super quick, but on this game, how do you compare?
I'm pretty much gonna be somewhere at like 0% compared to them because I absolutely cannot manage to find pace on this game. I don't know what it is with this game, but props to these guys. It's a pretty hard game in my opinion, and I can't get close to them.
You've just come off the back of a 24-hour spa that you did a couple of weeks ago. Did really well, but take the viewers through what that's like doing the 24-hour stint with 4 of your other teammates.
I mean, first of all, there's a lot of practice that goes into it, a lot of dedication, and you have to make sure that your teammates are on pace. Like in this case, it was everyone working together. It was not just me telling them or them telling me. It was all of us working together as one team. We have to be united. There are some compromises that have to be made here and there, especially with the setup. Some drivers might find it a bit understeery. Some drivers might find it a bit oversteery. But that's what comes with endurance racing and driver changes, because it has to be compromised enough for everyone to be able to perform at their peak and make sure that they are able to give everything that they can. But we had an unfortunate incident. We were fighting towards front, and we did have a back marker turn into us. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, but otherwise, in a 24-hour race, there has to be someone who is always awake 24 hours and keeping an
You've got
eye on
some
what's
great
going on.
spotters. You've definitely got some great spotters with you in terms of Surya Prakash, people that were up online with you guys. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, we're going to restart qualifying because we had a little bit of an issue, like Sohail mentioned a little while ago. So we're going to go back into a one-shot qualifying. We do apologize for a little bit, but of course, if you are watching, there are lots of prizes to be won from Evo India magazine. They're giving us some great stuff. And of course, the winners here today are going to get a t-shirt from the Evo India 100-kilometer merchandise line and a 1-year subscription to the Evo India magazine. And that's going to be great to watch. But we're going to just go into a one-shot qualifying right now, restarting the session as is. So let's see if Ashwin Lakwani can recreate that little Hungaroring magic and put that car back on pole where he belongs, because that was a stonker up a lap that he put in at that point in time. And of course, a super surprise for Pradyumna Prakash coming up in 4th place. He's rather surprised by himself as well, texting me saying, I don't know how I'm going to do that lap again, man. So let's just see what he can pull through there as well. But the guys like Arjun Shah, Arun K, Aditya K, Rahul Shah, Aditya K, Sid Kulkarni, Tanay Singh, Dillon, Brandon, Zachariah, the Zachariah brothers, we're going to have a lot of great battling here. So, because these guys, when we've seen them race up and down the field the last couple of times, especially in the 2019 game, they all started getting really close towards the end of it.
Yeah, they all were very close towards the end, and like I mentioned earlier, we had around 5, 6 drivers who did not manage to finish the laps earlier, and some of them were really quick enough to challenge for pole maybe. So it'll be interesting to see if they are able to keep themselves under control this time and are able to challenge at the front again.
Absolutely, because these guys, I mean, of course, when you're looking at race quality, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of things happening in this new game. It does look fantastic, and the graphics have updated massively. And we just see the Williams, the wheel brakes burning red as he goes around turn number 3 on the hot lap. But at the moment, we're trying to see. We're back on the qualifying again. So let's see if these guys can pull out those unbelievable performances they did last time and bring out the absolute stonker. Pull out an absolute stonker of a lap, of course. When F1 2019 was going on, it kept these guys really busy during the lockdown, and we had a lot of races that we did. Of course, on the international scale, George Russell winning the championship in a Williams. So it's interesting to see because Ashvin Lakhwani, Sid Venkatesh, of course, in the Williams, his teammates as well. So great to see these guys back up there again.
Yeah, as you mentioned, George Russell was winning championship in the Williams, so it just proves that it's not the car anymore in the game. It's all down to the drivers and driver skill. And I'm definitely not at these guys' level, but it's very fun to see these guys up there. And as these
I
lap
think I think these guys, the lap times are just coming in because there's about 20 seconds remaining for the session to get over, and these guys are going to be crossing the line. A lot of these guys at the back, you can see people like Aditya P, Arjun Shah, all have their laps disqualified, and these are super quick guys down in 11th and 12th place. Ashwin Lakhwani, there we go, putting that car back on pole, and a mighty lap. 1:15.4, that is a mega lap by him. Almost 6 tenths quicker than Pradyumna Prakash, coming up in his second place. So an absolute surprise there by Pradyumna Prakash, who was fourth last time out, up in second place. Now guys like Tanay Singh, Amaan Abdullah, who's now in fourth place, Sid Kulkarni in fifth, and then we Sid Kulkarni and Suraj in sixth place, Rahul Shah in seventh, Karnav in eighth place, Arun in ninth place. So we've got a lot of these guys now who haven't really set lap times, and they're all coming in right at the back. But that is a great showing by Ashwin Lakhwani, showing his absolute classic and soul.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for him this time around because we did have a lot of drivers in the 15s as well last time, and it's just a lot more easier for him this time. He just had no competition. He was on a league of his own in that black Mercedes, and just shows how similar to real life might be.
Well, similar. I wonder if anything close to this being similar, but that was a super showing. Much quicker, of course. There we go. Ashwin Lakhwani in the Mercedes right now is brilliantly up in a pole position again, and an absolute cracker of a lap. We saw him go around once, and I think if he gets a little more practice, we can only see him pull away at the front because that kind of a lap, and if he has that kind of race pace, especially when we saw them through practice in the lobby sessions earlier, he was mighty quick. So.
Yeah, he's been really quick even on the previous game, and he's done really well to adapt to the new one. And like I mentioned earlier, the game is a lot different to the previous edition, and that's just that just shows that how quickly a driver needs to adapt to even if he's just a sim racer, just how much talent is there required for them to be able to be on pace immediately, no matter what game given to them. Amit Kuti is an example that we've seen on the PC platform of all of this, and just shows the amount of talent that he has as well.
Well, Amit Kuti, that's a force to be reckoned with. And if you joined us before at 5 p.m. when we had another show, the iRacing endurance leagues that we were pulling down that side of town, Amit Kuti finished a good 40 seconds ahead of his closest rival in second place. That is some unbelievable talent. Of course, next week we should see the PC guys come out and take the Formula 1 2020 games. It's going to be super exciting to watch because we've got a lot of this racing, and I'm really glad that this game has come out in this opportune moment when the world right now going through certain bits of lockdown where everyone's trying to stay home, stay safe. We're trying to bring you entertainment, and it's great that UltimateE and Evo India magazine have managed to collaborate and put together this brilliant little event to bring to the bosses.
Yeah, I mean they've done a brilliant job. Usually the games do come out sometime in the August, and they've done a lot better this year. And they've come out in July, even though the last game was in June. But still, they still managed to put in the last moment releases of the new Williams livery and the Mercedes livery. So props to them. They've done a really amazing job. And if this game comes to the PC next week, I'm probably going to be here with you.
I think that'll be great to watch because you, of course, a little PC king. It'll be great to see you driving around there as well. Because I love watching you drive around those tracks. Because you out of nowhere again, middle of the pack, and then suddenly puts it on the board. It's just great watching you pull those strategies through. And of course, if you're there, it'll be great to have you in the comment box as well. Take us through what their thoughts through your head when you do race. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, back again with a few little technical glitches. Of course, this is a new game. We're also getting used to it. But we will get back to you. I mean, we will get back into racing very, very shortly. Of course, the viewers, we've got a live quiz that go on during the races and some exciting prizes to be won. Brought to you by Evo India magazine, which is great to have them here with us as well. So thank you, Evo India, led by an absolute gentleman called Suresh Chandran. Leads them with absolute, in true integrity, and it's great to see their magazines come out. I love reading them every single week, every single time they come out, every single issue that comes out every month. So thanks for giving us that content. And of course, the Evo India magazine can also be bought online on Amazon, and can also be the Evo India magazine can be bought online on Amazon, and on they can be found at Evo India on YouTube and Instagram as well. We're just coming back into the lobby again, but if you haven't heard of this magazine, it's a great little read. It's Evo India is a magazine that was started in 2013 with a singular focus to deliver the thrill of driving from affordable hatchbacks to supercars, from single-cylinder sports bikes, screaming superbikes. Evo India aims to put the reader firmly behind the wheel and saddled to celebrate the motoring experience. Our magazine can be bought from Evo India Magazine or at Amazon, and you can find us definitely on all social media platforms, on YouTube as well. This is going to be an absolute cracker because these guys here with us is going to be superb to watch. And so I'm sure you've read these magazines a bunch of times.
Yeah, I mean, I've always searched for some of my favorite drivers as, namely, Jihan Daruwala currently driving Formula 2. We did have drivers like Arjun Maini in Formula 2 as well at a point, and we have Kush Maini coming up the ranks as well. So I'm always looking for these Indian drivers, making us proud, and hoping to see myself once in them, I guess. On the international
I,
section, that is, of course.
I wonder of the international section. I'm sure you're going to make it there very, very soon. So, but at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Ultimate Evo's virtual GP with UltimateE and Evo India magazine, where they present together this UltimateE virtual GP. It's brilliant to watch because we've got 20 of India's top racing drivers, or swim drivers rather, racing this new F1 2020 game at the Hungaro ring. So it's going to be exciting to watch. And of course, if you're just joining us, there's a lot of work. We've been having a couple of glitches with us so far, so bear with us because there's some great prizes for the viewers to be won. There's a live quiz during the race, so please stay with us if you're there, and it'll be great to have you on board. Of course, we're going to go into race number 1 after this, which is going to be a 5-lap short sprint race, and so this is where we see tons of carnage.
Yeah, I mean, if you're running reduced damage, there's definitely going to be more carnage than expected. But reduced damage does not mean you do not have damage. You will obviously suffer some damage, and that could be a bit minor wing. And we've seen in the previous editions of this series that. Like the F1 2019 Farewell GP, where the smallest amount of damage have lost quite a lot of time for the fastest of drivers. So they don't want it, but the carnage is still inevitable.
Well, that's exactly. Carnage is always the main scene when we go there, and we're just getting the grid edited back to our previous positions where we had Ashwin Lakwani, who put an unbelievable stonker of a lap, and he's been so good. And throughout race pace wise, of course, we know he has the pace, and he's driving that indomitable black Mercedes, which just looks so good of it. So good, so.
Yeah, definitely. The black Mercedes, they've come out with a very good motive with that as well, to end racism, and I hope everyone watching us also is following that. And of course, nobody wants racism and nobody wants to promote that, and it's a good initiative taken by Formula 1 as well, with the hashtag We Race as One, and I think we should be putting that on our stream soon.
Yeah, well, of course, you're absolutely right, because We Race as One is a great message brought to us by Formula 1. There's been a lot of talk about, like so, it's a lot of talk about equality, justice, and I think it's absolutely right. We stand as one race, and we're all there together, and we're all here in the same fight as well. But coming straight back into this, we're just getting this grid ready again, where we're going to have Ashvin on pole, and we're going to go straight into racing. We're going to have an unbelievably exciting 5-lap race, and so over the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing a lot of this racing going on, and of course, especially in tracks with long straights going into turn one, the carnage, like you mentioned earlier, is unavoidable. We don't know what's going to happen there, and that's going to give the guys, especially the guys who didn't manage to set a lap time. People like Aditya P, Rajdeep Paul, we know they're really, really quick. Didn't manage to set a lap time. Just might have an advantage here.
Yeah, possibly, because many drivers in the midfield tend to try and gain as much position as possible, considering that the race is only 5 laps. And some drivers do take it conservatively, lifting off a lot earlier than when they're supposed to brake, and that could also catch the guys behind them out, as to they might be thinking of attacking harder and braking later than expected, and that might be an opposite reaction, going into one of the biggest crashes we've probably seen so far.
I think these crashes, even some of these crashes that we never ever expect, and some of these guys that we don't expect to crash, unfortunately crash. But that's the name of the game. So that's the problem, and that's the only issue that we've got, unfortunately. That being said, we've still got a lot of this. We've still got a lot of racing ahead of us. We've got a brilliant. We've actually got a brilliant race lined up, because we're going to have a 5-lap race followed by 25% of the full distance race, and that's going to have a mandatory pit stop. So these guys today are racing for pride, they're racing for the championship, they're racing for a win, and of course the overall winner will get a t-shirt from the Evo India 100-kilometer merchandise line and a 1-year subscription to the Evo India magazine. The viewers, don't go anywhere. If you're watching, we've got a live quiz lined up. It's going to happen during the race, so stay tuned to our YouTube chat. Keep a lookout when UltimateE or Evo India posts a little question out there, and then you get to answer it. Of course, when you do answer it, you're going to get prizes as well. Stay tuned for what you're going to get, because it's going to be an absolute surprise. And of course, Sohail, at this Hungaro ring, this tight, twisty circuit, what's overtaking going to be like? Because we've got these guys now, Rajdeep Paul, Aditya P, starting from the back. Not very easy to overtake, because it's called the Monaco without the buildings.
Yeah, so just like you said, it is called Monaco without walls, and it is for a reason, because now this doesn't take too much of effect in the game, but it does in real life, and it's called Dirty. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of it, and but it doesn't affect that much in the game. So I think this probably won't beat the Monaco without walls, and we should see some more action, as the amount of track extension these guys can do. Some of them might even use it to get some overtakes done.
I think that's exactly what we're going to see, because these overtaking this track, like we said, wasn't easy to overtake, but we saw these guys. We've seen a couple of races in the past where we think it's not easy to overtake, and they come around the outside of corners that you'd never see people running around the outside, because it's so dirty, so slippery down there, and there's no grip, and they managed to make it stick to the outside. Normally on this track, changes to the inside. So
yeah, I mean, we did see quite a lot of surprising moves come out in the previous 5 p.m. race as well, especially from Sai Sanjay and and Ronnie doing a lot of defensive work on a track where it's actually pretty easy to overtake competitively. So we never know what we see, and we can never expect anything, especially from these sim drivers.
Yeah, these sim drivers, that's the beauty of it, because over the last couple of months, when there's been no real racing, I've loved watching sim drivers evolve, especially guys like Pradyumna, because we started racing back in April, and overnight he'd be like, I would beat him one evening, and overnight he'd come back and beat me by a couple of seconds the next day, and I'd be wondering how. But then there we are. That's why he's gone on to become one of the best in the country. But started off a couple of months ago, and that's come back to show that these guys, in a couple of months with the right equipment, can actually make a big name for themselves. Because these guys that are racing on our platform are probably some of the best in the country at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously are not gonna scout anything else, are we?
Well, we that's why we have our qualifiers and we attract that kind of talent that comes and races with us. So it's brilliant to see ultimately attracting the certain kind of talent they can. Because of course, well, because see, with a platform like this, and of course when it's founded by people like Aditya Patel, Arman Ibrahim, who are actual racing drivers and come out into the esports categories, they're giving people like Ahmed Kuti the opportunity to go from an esports driver to sit in an actual race car and craft a career for himself in the real world.
I mean, it's not just them, the organizers, right? It's also the kind of drivers that they have. Otherwise, they have drivers that the likes of Arjun, Maini, Narain Karthikeyan driving, and the drive to Amit Guti also has a big hand with Narain Karthikeyan as he's going to be driving under NK Racing Academy. So it's just everybody coming together trying to improve motorsport as a whole, as one in India, and it's just wonderful to see that happening.
Exactly, and I really like how that's happening right now because it's actually formed a really large community, and it's much larger than just one platform because there are multiple platforms that have come together and race together because we've collaborated with the Indian racing community, with COSC, now with Evo India magazine. So it's great to see a lot of these guys coming on, getting involved, and bringing a lot of entertainment to our fans. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we're almost ready to go racing. The grid is formed. We've got our issues sorted. Going to be we're sorry, we do apologize for the slight delay. We went to qualifying and then had a little bit of glitch, but Ashvin Lakhmani, after putting that stonker of a lap in 6/10 over Pradyumna Prakash in second place, and that's how we're going to start off. And I'm just waiting for everyone to join and everyone to get in, and you'll see all the ticks lining up, and then everyone's going to get ready to go racing once the grid forms. Of course, the safety car is on. We're going to have reduced damage, but this turn one, Sohail, I am so looking forward to seeing a little bit of carnage down there because on this track, that's something we can definitely expect.
I'm not expecting a little bit though. I'm expecting a lot more than just a little bit.
Well, let's just see who's right on this time out because in a couple of seconds we are gonna have the lights go on. There we go. When the 5 lights go on, we're gonna go racing on the first F1 2020 game with UltimateE and Evo India magazine. The lights go on, and it's a great start by Aditya P, Arjun Shah in 4th place as well. That's a brilliant start as well by Ashwin Lakhmani. You're already leaving them in the dust, and a 4, 5, 6 wide now going in a turn one in the middle of the pack. And I think that's Sid Kulkarni, who's already had a spin in the back, and a couple of guys are coming through with Arjun Shah making up a couple of places as well, coming up in 2nd place, Karnav now in 3rd place, Brandon Zachariah up in a 4th place with Kaushik Rajan now in 5th place. But Ashwin Lakhmani looks like he's had a clean getaway, going away straight. A couple of guys going wide around turn number 4. That's a very hard place to overtake, and we can see a couple of front wings as well flying in the air. So there's definitely, there we go, Ferrari now without the front wing. I think that's Karnav right now who's got an end plate missing on his front wing, and lap number 1 that was a messy start for a lot of these guys, but Ashwin Lakhmani seems to have gotten away well, gotten away cleanly, brilliantly around turn number 1, and we can see a couple of front end plates missing from the Ferrari, from the Williams behind as well. But this is very, very messy start up in front. A lot of guys gain positions. People like Tanay Singh, looks like he's got 13 positions that he's gained up in the 6th place. Dillon Zachariah all the way from the back of the grid now, 9 places up in the 5th place. That's great to see these guys now making their way up in the back of the grid and very, very close. But up in front, Ashwin Lakhmani, Arjun Shah. It looks like Arjun Shah is bringing that gap down at the moment because that gap came down. The gap came down, but now it's extended up a bit. But between those two, we know how quick they are, and it's going to be super, super close between them. And it's a very, very short 5-lap race, so it's going to be a super sprint. And if anyone does, because I think there we go, Aditya P has sprinted as well, they're going to lose a lot of time, not be able to make it. But now there's an insane battle between Swaggy Dilly and Aditya K. And Aditya K, sorry, between these two guys. Rajdeep Paul and Swaggy Dilly with the Alfa Toro and the Williams. The Alfa Tauri and the Williams. Unbelievable racing between these two guys for 4th and 5th place. The moment Ashwin Lakhmani up in front, 7/10 clear now. Arjun Shah. Karnav now 4 seconds behind Arjun Shah. So a comfortable lead with the 1st and 2nd very, very close. And I think that Swaggy Dilly and Rajdeep Paul having a little tussle amongst themselves, trying to get through. For the Ferrari in front of Karnav as well, with that end plate damage, a lot of damage that he's carrying. It's not going to be easy to steer the car through. Sohail.
Yeah, I just like the fact that the game just does not want to just not want to stop showing us that there are yellow flags everywhere. And there is non-stop yellows in sector 1, 2 and 3. Like at all times.
Yeah, man, there's always, I mean, this looks like there's always sectors 1, 2, and 3. There's yellow flags in the first lap. It's always going to be absolute carnage, and that's the problem with this track. I think there we go. The Karnav now is just, it's really hard to drive without that front end plate. This car requires so much downforce, and it's such a tight and twisty circuit. It's very hard to do so. But Arjun Shah now 7/10, maintaining that gap between these two guys. Ashvin is not able to break the shackles from Arjun Shah, and Arjun Shah behind him. There's a yellow flag in all three sectors. There's a lot of yellow flags around the track, so he's going to be careful when he overtakes, because the rules and regulations are on this game. But they're dropping Rajdeep Paul now behind in second place. I wonder what happened to people like Pradyumna, Prakash, Aditya K, Arya, Karthik. All these guys that started all the way at the back of the grid, they're just not able to make it through. Of course, Aditya K, we know Anhydrous Haas is very, very quick, but there's a lot of battles right now up and down the field, and 3 laps in already. And Arjun Shah and Ashwin Lakhmani, that 0.751 has not changed one bit, Sohail.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely on the limit, and considering that I believe the next race is also a reverse grid of top 8. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The next race is a reverse grid of the top 8, yeah. Absolutely right. So, you're going to have guys like, if it stays as is, you're going to have guys like Arun, Aditya, Tanay Singh, all of them starting up in front. But that's not very good news for people like Sid Kulkarni, for I think Aarya, for Aditya K, because they're going to start in the back of the field. It's very, very hard to overtake on this track. But here we go. Now the gap looks like it's come down quite a bit between the Mercedes of Ashwin Lakhmani and the Renault of Arjun Shah at this point in time. That gap is been going down. There's so many yellow flags. He's got to pick his moment, pick his spot, and see where he can overtake between these guys, because we are on the penultimate lap, and he seems like he's just about dropping him a little bit right now. And our timing screen's now a little bit off, so I'm trying to see what's going on the entire thing, because now Arjun Shah looks like he's come up. Whoa, I think there's a spinner on the back. Who was that? Was that the Phantom?
I think that's Tanay Singh.
It was Tanay Singh. The terminal damage out of the race. Unfortunate luck for him, because he was doing very well up there in 6th place. Unfortunately, you see a little bit of contact and into the barrier as he goes. This track fights back hard, ladies and gentlemen. But up ahead, there we go. Ashwin Lakhmani, Arjun Shah, Rajdeep Paul in 3rd place, 7 seconds behind the leaders. So there's a little bit of a gap between those guys. It's not going to come down quickly. But Swaggy Dilly, started from way back at the grid, mid 10 places up. That's really impressive to see that he's up there. And of course, Adi K in 5th place, and the Phantom, who's also there. Phantom Amaan Abdullah in 6th place. There's not too much between Adi and the Phantom right now. The Ferrari and the Redbull battling around this track. Redbull, in reality, a lot more suited to this track than the Ferrari is. But let's see what goes on towards the end of the race. But lap 5 now, this has gone by so quickly, with Arjun Shah now in 2nd place, still hounding Ashwin Lakhmani. Very, very hard to overtake, and been trying to keep up with him throughout the entire race, and it's very impressive. He's managed to do so at this point in time as they come around these last couple of sectors. And Arjun Shah still setting purple sectors as he goes around this track. But Ashwin Lakhmani setting purple sectors as he goes around this track. Still some more, one more time, but we're going to see what's going on. I think Ashwin Lakhmani says he had a problem, because now the timing screens are showing that Arjun Shah is in 1st place and Rajdeep Paul is in 2nd place. So I wonder if something's going on there, but I think there's a glitch there, yeah. I think it's definitely a glitch there, because it's definitely showing me Ashwin Lakhmani down in 7th place, and I don't think that's right. There we go. Ashwin Lakhmani is up in 1st place at this point in time. But as we come around the last couple of corners on this lap, we're going to have Ashwin Lakhmani, I think, come around to win. But I think, is that Arjun Shah? Because I think there has been a problem with Ashwin Lakhmani, because he seems to have dropped off our timing straights. But Arjun Shah looks like he's going to come around and win race number 1, and that's something that we haven't seen before. A glitch where a car has, the 1st place has dropped completely off our timing screens, gone down into 17th place. Yeah, he's 26 seconds below, so either he's had a problem or had to quit. But Arjun Shah now in 1st place, Rajdeep Paul in 2nd place, Swaggy Dilly, Dillon Zachary making her back on the podium where he belongs in 3rd place. Aditya K in 4th place, Amaan Abdullah now in 5th place, Pradyumna Prakash in 6th place, dropped 1 place, but could have made a couple of places. So I'm pretty sure he was carrying some damage because he didn't have the pace today. Akhil now in 7th place with a very, very close finish behind. Arun in 8th place, Zachary, Swaggy Dilly's brother, in 9th place, Aditya P in 10th, but he had the pace. I wonder what happened to him, because it was rather interesting to see him down there. But now, this is what's going to get interesting now, Sohail, because when we go in to the next race, we are going to do an entire reverse grid at the top. So we're going to have Arun starting on 4 with Akhil and on the first row, Pradyumna Prakash and Amaan Abdullah will be on the second row. Adi and Swaggy Dillon will be on the third row, and Rajdeep Paul and Arjun Shah will be on the fourth row, followed by the remaining, which is going to be great to watch now.
Yeah, but I'm still curious to know what happened to Ashwin Lakhwani because as we saw Arjun Shah cross the line, I did see Ashwin. Yeah, there it is. Ashwin
Ashwin
Lakhwani is
ahead
the
of him.
one able to
Yeah, there
yeah.
we go. Ashwin Lakhwani. Correction, ladies and gentlemen. We go back to our original timing straights. And Ashwin, because as I said, he was absolutely right because we did see his Mercedes streak ahead of him and he was near the pit wall when the checkered flag dropped. Ashwin Lakhwani, well deserved win because I was wondering what happened. The glitch now has been sorted. So Ashwin Lakhwani now wins this first race at Hungaroring. So he is now going to be starting in 8th place on this reverse win of the second race. Arjun Shah in 2nd place. Rajdeep Paul in 3rd. Swaggy Dilly then off the podium. Sorry, Swaggy, I thought that was a podium for you, but unfortunately not. There's still one more race to go, and I'm pretty sure you'd make it up there. Aditya there in 5th place. Amaan Abdullah in 6th. Pradyumna Prakash down in 7th. Akhil Agarwal in 8th. And Arun in 9th. And Brandon Zachariah in 10th place with Aditya P falling off to 11th. But these guys now, I can't wait so because this is where it all gets serious. Because this first race was a little bit of a warm-up. I think everyone took their gloves off. You know what's what? Driver of the day. There we go. Akhil Agarwal is our driver of the day. So, if the votes come in, Akhil Agarwal was a driver of the day. And so, with this brilliant first race, we're going to go straight into the second race. And of course, reverse through the top 8. We're going to see these guys celebrate. Ashwin Lakhwani, there you go. Excited as ever in those Mercedes overalls with Arjun Shah in 2nd place. But a great battle between those two. But finishing 5 seconds ahead by the end of it in 5 laps. So he's taken a second out of him every single lap and being an absolute monster when he drove that car. Showing his absolute class. But now he's got to see that's what he can do coming in from 8th place on this on the next race.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting in my opinion because we did see Arjun and Ashwin have that phenomenal pace that nobody else had. And like, see, there is Arjun's 1 second quicker than P3 and Ashwin's even quicker than Arjun. So it just shows the amount of pace these guys have, and the other drivers probably slowing them down on their progress is going to probably bring out more incidents, but don't quote me on anything.
Well, I don't know about incidents because we saw a lot of the guys like Aditya P diving in the pits in the beginning because of lost front wings on this track. So not easy to drive on those front wings, are they?
No. Because as you mentioned earlier, it's Monaco without the walls, which means it's pretty much just corners, 90% of it. And if your car is not functioning properly in the corners, then you're pretty much nowhere on this track.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't matter if you have straight line speed because that only consists of pretty much 900 meters of the 4.3 kilometer Hungaroring. But if you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, UltimateE and Evo India magazine presents the Ultimate Evo Virtual GP, where we've just finished race number 1. Ashwin Lakhwani showing his unbelievable class. In brilliant watching him storm through. He's going to start now in the reverse through the top 8. So Ashwin Lakhwani who won the first race now will start in 8th and so on and so forth. So the second race now, we won't have a qualifying. We're going to have a reverse the top 8. So the guys that were super quick like Ashwin, Arun Shah, like Pradyumna Prakash, they're all going to be starting further down the grid. They're going to get a little messy in turn 1 because like we saw the last time on, Aditya P lost the front wing, had to go and pit and change it. And like Sol was saying earlier, not easy to get around this track without one of those front wings. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, the winner of tonight is going to receive a t-shirt from Evo India with a 100 kilometer merchandise line and a 1-year subscription to the Evo India magazine. And viewers, if you are watching, keep a lookout on that YouTube chat box. There is going to be a lot of noise because what's going to happen next is you're going to have a couple of questions thrown at you from UltimateE and Evo India, and you're going to get to answer them. And the right answers are going to win some exciting prizes. So stay with us and keep watching and look out for those questions. Keep your comments coming in. It's going to be great having you guys here. Watching with us today on this brilliant Saturday evening where UltimateE and Evo India magazine bring you the Ultimate Evo Virtual GP while we race at the Hungaroring. We're just waiting for production team to get the second grid ready where we're going to have a reverse through the top 8 where Ashwin Lakhwani won race number 1, but in race number 2 now, Sohail, with a much longer race and a mandatory pit stop on this tight, twisty, bumpy circuit, we're going to see tire conservation, fuel conservation, and most importantly, timing of that pit stop and what tires these guys start on.
Yeah, it's going to be really important. And with these guys starting further behind than they would have liked, P8 and P7, Arjun and Ashwin, they're probably not going to like the fact that they're going to have to get through traffic before they pit, because you'd ideally want to push as hard as possible and get ahead of them after the pit stop as well. So on fresh rubber, it's just going to be very interesting to see what these guys do. And again, impatience is probably gonna kill them. If they're not patient, that's probably gonna kill them 100%.
You got that word absolutely right. Impatience. Well, patience on this track is the key, because there are many opportunities if people are patient, can find the right line, the right amount of traction to overtake. And people like Swaggy Diddy last time out, brilliant. 10 places up, coming from P14 to P4, avoiding all the carnage in front, making the most of those opportunistic moves. That's exactly what we're talking about. It's exactly what can be done. Because when you have guys like that coming up, when we have guys coming up, moving 10 places through, it was quite a solid performance that you could say. But that's where I think this is the race. We're going to see guys like him, like Arjun, like Ashvin, like Maini, all these guys prove their mettle now, because it's going to be messy. So
Yeah, just as you mentioned, Swaggy Dilly did start P14, so I'm thinking that there might be a bit favor towards him in this situation compared to Arjun and Ashwin, because him starting ahead of the grid has to get past lesser drivers, which means if he's on pace with the other drivers, which obviously we cannot see in a 5-lap race considering he was fighting traffic throughout. If he's able to get up ahead, my question is, can he win this race? Because I think he does have a chance at this.
oh, definitely, he has the pace. We know he was about half a second quicker than the rest of the field in qualifying. So he was 1 second quicker ahead of Arjun Shah. He's gapping him by 1 second a lap in the previous race. So this race out, we know he's got the pace, but coming from the back, he's got to be careful, avoiding all the carnage, because he does not want an early pit stop. It's going to ruin his race. And coming from the back of the pack is going to be very hard in this race. But of course, with the safety car on, and if the safety car does get deployed, so that's going to change a lot up.
Yeah, 100%. 5-lap race, the safety car is not enabled in a 5-lap race as per the game. The game does not allow you to do that. So hence we did not have any, because considering we had yellow flags pretty much throughout the race in sector 1, 2, and 3. We would have probably had safety car throughout the race last time around, and it'll be interesting how early it comes out, because I'm gonna guess lap 1 maybe.
Well, I'm not going to say lap 1, but let's be a little more optimistic and see if the race can go on a little more. But if it is lap 1, you can see some of these guys in Japan might just get on the hard tires early if they had to pit and go the distance, because the hard tires can last for 18 laps around this track quite easily. So
Yeah, but in my opinion, as a veteran on F1 games, I would probably say that to not go on hard tests, because they're pretty much horrendous. They're like I don't know how they are in real life, of course, but on the game they're absolutely waste of time. You're probably gonna be 3 seconds off the pace on the others who probably stay out. So you'd rather be better off staying out those 2 extra laps on lap 1 on the soft tires. Go those 2 laps extra, maybe 3 if you can, and pit for the medium tires for a bit later into the race. Or if you start on the mediums, then you're completely out of luck then if the safety car's out in lap 1.
absolutely, because if the safety car is out on lap 1, it just might throw a spanner in the works. You just might see some of these guys who might pit, but like Soul said, if they're going to be that much slower, and as he's the veteran of this Formula 1 2020 game, it's going to be that much slower, then it's definitely not worth putting those tires on that early in the game. But coming through the field, we're just waiting for the grid to get ready, but producers is just sorting this out. The race director will then wave the green flag, lights will go out, we will be racing on the 25% race, where we have a reverse grid of the first race, which Ashwin Lakhani won with absolute confidence, and was rather easily, to be very frank, because he was 5 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. And if you're watching, viewers, you're going to have a couple of questions in the YouTube comment box, so keep a lookout for them, because you got some prizes to be won, which will be given out by Evo India magazine, and it's going to be great. It's great to have them on board first, because next week we're going to go from PlayStation from the PlayStations to the PCs, and we're going to see with a new set of faces on the same games. It's going to be interesting to watch. But today we've got 20 of the top drivers in India that qualified through Friday, and it was brilliant, because these guys, when they qualify through, they work for them. They work for every little benefit. So because you're racing, these guys do set the fastest times. It's only the fastest 20 that get to take part. And of course, the bottom six always that we put back in the pool get a shot at qualifying again.
Yeah, 100%. These guys are gonna be having issues in this race.
Yeah, well, we're just going to wait for that to watch. I think we're almost ready to go racing right now. The boys are ready. They're getting a little impatient. We're getting restless, waiting for what the grid could be like, because this is going to be rather interesting to watch. Because dry weather that we're going to have, it's a dry weather that we're going to have, so this is going to be rather interesting to watch. But we're just waiting for our host now to get the grid started, so to get the race started. So then we can go racing. A reverse grid of the first race, a reverse top 8 rather of the first race. Dry weather throughout, damage is reduced, but we did see a bunch of wings flying around. It's rather hard to drive, like we said earlier, without the front wing, and the grip, the grip levels on this track, very, very impressive. But that being said, people like Akhil, Aditya K, Rahul Shah, these are guys making their first time appearance on this game in the F1 2020 game with us this time around, and it's great to have new names from time to time. So.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty sure that these guys at the top are gonna try and get as much gap as possible to the guys behind them, because obviously they know they are faster, and like we mentioned earlier, it's going to be hard for them. But yeah, we just time of patience now, and we should be getting ready to go ahead any moment now. So please do stick with us as we are going. Yeah, just as I say, 25 seconds till the session starts. So we are going to be on the grid soon, and the race is going to be starting in any second now. And Arjun can take over for the race start now.
Because like Soul said, we've got a couple of these guys now. Of course, 10 seconds go for the lights to go green. 25% of this race. This is going to be an absolute cracker, ladies and gentlemen. From anything that we saw in the first race, the faster guy is now starting behind. The faster guy starting behind. I'm just waiting for the timing streams to come up to know exactly who's on pole at this point in time. Like we did the last time out, a custom grid this time for us. It's going to be the reverse of the top 8. We're going to go racing in no time, because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the one to watch out for. The first one where they just warmed up, flexed their muscles, put their gloves on, just showed each other what they could do. But this is the race where everything they need brawn and they need brain.
They bring their helmets on as well.
They need their brawn and brain for this race, because everything from pit stops to how they conserve tire to fuel to managing their fuel on board as well, very, very important, because you can push hard on this track, lose a lot of time, lose a lot of tires, lose a lot of fuel early, and burn yourself out. But that's not what I don't think a lot of these guys have been practicing. They know exactly what to do. A lot of these guys rather professional as well. So
yes, just as we're waiting for people to join into the session, yeah, we're just starting. Please bear with us.
We're going to be going live in no time. So at this point in time, we're just waiting for you guys to join. We just have Aarya right now and Tanay Singh, but so now we've got to get the rest of the things coming on. But the session will start in about 15 seconds. If you're watching, also look out for our commentary box. We're going to have a couple of questions, and you just have a chance to win a bunch of prizes from Evo India magazine. So it's going to be great to watch and a great magazine to read as well. It's a great magazine readers got to subscribe to it as well and follow them on their channels at Evo India. But there we go. So we've got the 5 lights now illuminated. 18-lap race with Akhil in first, Pradyumna Prakash in second place. It's now going to be crazy. The lights are, and away we go. This is a brilliant start there by Amaan Abdullah. He's already up in the lead. Both the Red Bulls battling, coming in at turn number 1, but 4 wide behind them. That's not going to fit. I'm going to see a couple of cars spinning for sure, and a couple of front wings are definitely going to be missing out there between the Ferraris and the Alfa Tauris. They're going to be struggling a little, coming in at turn number 3. 3 wide is also not going to fit in there, but brilliant racing right now between Pradyumna Prakash, Ashvin in the Mercedes and the Renault. Brilliant fight between the two of them. But up in front right now, Amaan Abdullah in the lead, Aditya P dropping in second place. Rajdeep Paul made up a bunch of places now in 3, and Swaggy Dillon up in the 4th again. Arjun Shah in 5th, Ashwin in 6th, and Pradyumna Prakash up in 7th place. Yellow flag now in second 2, so someone's gone off. I had a couple of incidents, but I hope the safety car isn't deployed yet, because right now we've got some crazy racing going on, and right at the back there is a Ferrari of Karnav as well. I think he's been struggling out a bit, been pushed wide, but let's just see where we are, because both Red Bulls now 2 tenths in it. Ooh, he's going wide as he comes through turn number 8, but very, very wide, and both the Red Bulls now battling it out with each other between Amaan Abdullah and Akhil Agarwal. These two guys now at in the front of the pack, and Rajdeep Paul trying to make a move around the outside rather hard in the penultimate corner. We're coming in the last corner now as we head down the 1 kilometer straight. This is where the slipstream will come into action. Rajdeep Paul, we know how quick he is. And ahead of Amaan Abdullah, who's also very, very quick. Akhil Agarwal might just get hounded, but they out in battle now between Arjun Shah. Battle now between Rajdeep Paul, Arjun Shah, the Renault. Arjun Shah looks like he's moved up in the third place. Rajdeep Paul, Arjun Shah, brilliant little battle between the two of them. The lead up in front has also changed hands with Amaan Abdullah now taking it from Akhil Agarwal. The Red Bull boys battling it out with each other. Rajdeep Paul maintaining third place. Arjun Shah putting absolute pressure on him. But Akhil Agarwal now coming straight back at Amaan Abdullah, but just not he's having absolutely none of it. It makes that move stick as they come around and happen. The brilliant little racing with 2 laps already gone, and these guys, there's absolutely nothing in it. All the way down the field, it's still one very, very long train of Formula One cars. So
yeah, we have like top 7 drivers right, like very, very close to each other. I think they're within like 3 seconds to the leader with the top 7, and it's just going to bring out a lot of racing and potentially some damage to the cars as well, maybe. But Arun Shah has done a wonderful job starting P7. He's already up into P3 and hounding the P2.
Hounding Amaan Abdullah right now, who's in place. So the Red Bull and the Renault now, Arun Shah, we know he's rather quick. Came on a couple of weeks ago. There we go, side by side, already coming down that long 1 kilometer straight. Arjun Shah, this is going to be a drag to the end of the line, and then last the late breakers, as we love to see which one of these two can actually outbreak. Arjun Shah, beautiful move down the inside, making it count on turn number 1 and blocking the entry as he goes along. But that's also made now Amaan Abdullah vulnerable to Swaggy Dilly in the Alfa Tauri behind, or in the Renault, Williams behind him with Ashvin Lakhwani as well. He's bringing Ashvin Lakhwani as well. So Ashvin Lakhwani is having none of this at this point in time, and everybody through the first couple of sequences. I think Rajdeep Paul, one of the biggest losers all the way now, down to 19th place. So he's lost a whole bunch of places coming out of that first couple of laps now, as things gently start to settle down. I wouldn't say yet, because oh my god, just as I said that, Dillon now he has the best view in the house for the battle of the top 3 tenths in between these guys, and actually at 1 second, 2 seconds now between the top 7 or top 6 rather, with Swaggy Dilly rather having a rather great view of the top 3 ahead of him, just waiting. Akhil Agarwal, we see he goes a rather wide line. That's a go-karting line he's taking around the penultimate corner, but the Amaan Abdullah is going to get a great drive and a great exit now down this front straight, and the DRS on this lap, active soul, one of these is going to get in by the end of it.
Yeah, but I think that's not going to be focused right now. We see Ashwin Lakhwani getting past Swaggy Dilly. Probably not what he wanted. I'm pretty sure he must be frustrated after finishing P4 last race, just being 1 place off the podium, and again just missing out on podium by that much. But if he's smart enough, he will try and stick as close as possible to Ashwin Lakhwani and try to capitalize on any opportunity that he gets from any overtaking.
That move around the outside on the medium tires, you can just see how much more pace he's carrying, because Swaggy Dilly on the soft tires had absolutely no answer to him at all. But Aditya P looks like he's attacking Swaggy Dilly as well, and Dillon so we're going to see what he can do through this and see if he can defend for his life at the moment. But Arjun Shah now up in the lead, so the lead has changed hands up ahead as well. I wonder we missed that a little bit, because there seems to be a little bit of a mistake made somewhere, because Arjun Shah now up in the lead. In second place, Akhil Agarwal now 1.7 seconds behind, but Amaan Abdullah still absolutely sticking to him on his tail, and Ashwin Lakhwani and the Red Bull boys are going to get the slap very, very soon, because Ashwin Lakhwani, who said a big time slap, but there we go, he made a mistake, and Ashwin Lakhwani now then goes ahead Amaan Abdullah, and he's going to take 2 Red Bulls in 1 corner. Is that possible to do all those medium tires? Red Bull, one on the soft, one on the mediums, and Ashvin Lakhwani makes it look super easy, coming around the inside of that last corner and dragging them out as they go to the start finish straight down that first corner. Brilliantly done. And now there we go. Now he's got his focus on, and he's going after Arjun Shah, who's a couple of seconds ahead now in the Renault. But the Red Bull boys are going to come under some pressure. They'll be battling each other, and this soul is giving guys they should be ideally working as a team, but everyone's driving for themselves. and it's giving guys like Swaggy Dilly and Dillon Zachary rather and Aditya Patnaik, they just bring them into this battle as well.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if they're fighting for playing as a team or not, because in this championship, it's all the drivers that matters, and nobody's looking at the constructors' points. But you did miss a very important point a lap ago, that Arun Shah has a 3-second time penalty now for excessive track usage or excessive track extension.
There we go. So he's got all four wheels not on the black stop and over the white line. That's why he's probably done it about a couple of times. The game gives you about what 5-6 opportunities, I think, before they give you a 3-second penalty, and then it keeps compounding as 3 seconds. Sorry, so thank you for telling me that as we go along. So 3 seconds, and I think there we go. Brandon Zachary as well has got a 3-second penalty. So a lot of penalties we're going to see throwing around. But at the end of the race, it just might change. These penalties are going to. Ooh, is that Tanay Singh going in the pits? Yeah, that is. Pradyumna Prakash and Tanay Singh both going in the pits. I mean, sorry, Tanay Singh going in the pits. He's going to get Pradyumna Prakash. Is going to move up a whole bunch of guys. Already pitting now on lap number 6. Some a whole bunch of early pit stops now coming up. So we even see, I think the race leader as well is Arjun Shah. Has he gone in the pits as well? Yes, he has. So right now, all the guys in the soft tires looks like they've been losing grip and coming back on. Some of these guys and the tires have changed a bit. A couple of these guys are on soft tires. A couple of these guys are on hard. So this has changed up a lot over the last one lap. But Ashvin Lakwani now back where he belongs in the lead. So let's see if they can all undercut and make the undercut work out of Ashvin Lakwani. He's just too quick, so.
Yeah, Ashwin Lakhwani starting on the mediums, trying to make his strategy work. If there was a safety car, probably not going to be as per his plans. But more importantly, he's on the mediums right now, and he has a very, very good strategy lined up for him. He should be going down to the softs, so he is going to be terrifyingly fast on low fuel, on soft tires. And not to mention that because of Arjun Shah's penalty, if the others are able to use a similar strategy. I don't know what tires Phantom is on, but if he's on mediums as well, yeah, we just see he's as well on the medium. So if the Phantom can also capitalize on the strategy that he is on, then Arjun Shah might be in danger of losing P2 as well.
As you call it, a couple of the top boys now, Dillon Zachary, Arun, and Kaushik Rajan all going into the pits as well. But Prakash makes it a couple of places. He hasn't pitted yet, so he's now on the long runs as well, on those medium tires, and then Alfa Tauri looking beautiful in this game against Budapest backdrop. But there we go. But Prakash right now up in third place. I wonder, this is where he's a specialist. He comes up in his second race out of nowhere, puts in a couple of laps that surprises everybody now up in his second place. Very good, puts in a couple of laps that surprises everybody. And next thing you know, finds himself in the fourth. Let's see if he can make that make it again, like he did the last time. But as you said, second one, second two, well so a lot of people having issues now. I think the tires are going off. Even definitely the soft tires are going off, but the medium tires holding on a little longer because Ashvin is happy now. Let's see what he can do because Arjun Shah now on those fresh tires, he pitted rather early. He's the last in the back for the and the Force or Racing Point behind him. Which is not gonna work in his favor because those fresh tires with him hustling, they're gonna kill these tires a lot earlier than he wanted.
Yeah, he's going to be hounded right now with the Racing Point. He's not going to. We both are on a very similar strategy on the mediums right now. So it's all going to be down to how they end up at the end of this race. But I don't think. Wait, hold on. It has Aditya Patnaik pitted. I don't think he's pitted yet.
I don't think he's pitted yet, but Arjun Shah is definitely pitted, and he's done. I think Aditya Patnaik probably got a lap or two left, but. This Aditya Patnaik pushing him so hard. The mediums can only go on that much, but you can see how hard he's pushing, coming out those last corners, spinning up those red tires and lighting the reds up, as we say. Coming out of the finish straight, to get as much traction as he can and as much speed down the straight as he can. And a great exit always makes great speed down the straight. But as things settle down now, I think when he picks up coming in a straight, I don't think Amaan Abdullah, who's now in first place, is pitted either, has Pradyumna Prakash. The top three at this point in time have not pitted. So Arun Shah now with a 4-second gap over the leader. I mean, with almost a 10-second gap, over the leader. I wonder now, Arun Shah, if he's going to make this work because he's going to really put in some absolute stonkers to see if he can get back, if he can hold the lead once the top pit.
Yeah, once it's all gonna come to play once they pit, and I guess they'll be pitting around lap 12, 13, because we did see most of these drivers go around 5 or 6 laps on the soft tires. So they can go longer on the soft tires towards the end, considering the lower fuel. So that's when we'll see the major changes on the standings again, and the Ashwin Lakhwani and Arjun Shah are gonna probably bring us a bigger fight.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what we're trying to hope for. We want to see if they can, because he's going to time this to absolute perfection at this point in time, because he's still staying out, going into lap number 9. Now it's 9 laps remaining at the halfway point, where Ashvin now leads this race. First of all, Prakash in second place. They haven't finished yet. Neither is Sid Venkatesh, but Arun Shah now is on the tail of Sid Venkatesh. I wonder if he's going to overtake him down this. I wonder if he's going to overtake him down the penultimate corner. And he managed to get that move done. So he's managed to get himself up to third place. So now it's only 13 seconds between him and the top two boys. And this just might work in his favor right now at the point, Paul. Is he coming back? Sid Venkatesh coming back at him. He did. And so Aditya opportunistic move. When he saw those two made a little trip up, came around the outside, sweep around, down the chicane, has got the move done, up into the fourth place. Unbelievably opportunistic, and that's ruining Arjun Shah's race, because that's not what he planned. He planned to get past Sid Venkatesh and blast away, because that's exactly what he needs to do now. Perfect sectors after perfect sectors, putting in qualifying laps if he wants to come back out of the lead, because Ashwin Lakhwani now has got that gap. 13 seconds now has gone up now to 14 seconds. 15 seconds almost, so.
Yeah, I mean, with Arjun having the 3-second penalty as well, he has to make sure he's not getting caught up in the traffic as well. Because from the driver's point of view in the game, you don't know if the other drivers do have a penalty as well. So he has no chance of knowing if Ashwin Lakhwani has a penalty or not. But we do know that he does not have a penalty. So all we can say is that Arjun needs to push as hard as he can. Try not to get involved in the traffic, get as much clean air, and like you said, put quali laps after quali.
Because the gap now, there we go. I think that's exactly what he said. He's got rid of Sid Venkatesh. I think he's just holding on to Aditya P, because that gap now has come down to 12 seconds to the top, to the leaders at this point in time. So there's not much in it, but Arjun Shah needs to get rid of Aditya P very, very quickly if he wants to make this work and make that strategy work, to put himself back on the podium or the top step if he could actually manage it. But now, coming in the last 8 laps, this is where we're going to see people like these guys put it on lap number 6 and 4 laps old. These sides are 4 laps old, which is not going to work very well in this way, because Ashwin Lakhwani was in the mediums when he started off. He's touched those tires for quite a distance until he's going to pit and get onto the softs. They're going to be much bigger tires than so.
Bigger news: Arjun Shah has just received 3 seconds more as a penalty. So
there we go. So Arjun Shah, I don't think he's having a very good day in terms of track limits, and the stewards are handing out penalties. He's got 6 seconds now then as a penalty. So that's a tough ask and a tall order. That man, at the same time, he's bringing that gap down to the guys in front. Of course, people like Pradyumna, people like he's now up in the third place. It looks like he's got that move done on Aditya P somewhere where we missed the move. We missed that move, so we're wondering what we can catch up with that again. But then Zachariah and his teammates are good. Venkatesh blocking battle. Ooh, there we go. Is that Aditya P and Arjun Shah? That is just as we asked for. So thank you. I've been broadcasting doing a great job. And Aditya P now attacking Arjun Shah, trying to go around the outside, around the inside, Arjun defending, using some very creative lines to close the door as we go to the chicane. Arjun Shah has got Aditya P company for the foreseeable future, because he's not going anywhere at this point in time and looking rather racy. So
yeah, looking at the timing board, I think Ashwin Lakhwani has glitched out or made another major mistake. We will have to look at that again, because he did have quite a sizable gap over Phantom. So I don't think that's exactly where what their positions are. And we'll just have to wait for Ashwin Lakhwani to get back into it. But yeah, it was a really good move by Arjun Shah and Aditya P, and really tried a good comeback on it, but just couldn't get it to work. And now is the time where we expect drivers to start coming in. Like, we just see Phantom in the pits, we see Sid in the pits on the mediums, going on to the softs now. So now is the time when they have to shine and show that pace that they have been missing so far.
I mean, that's exactly like you said. So with 6 laps to go now, I have a feeling I think Amaan Abdullah has gone to the pits. Yeah, and Sid Venkatesh has gone to the pits as well. So they've dropped down the order. You can see that Amaan Abdullah on 6th place. So he's dropped down the order, but on those fresh tires now with 6 laps to go, this is going to be a sprint in the line. And if he can manage to pull through, it's very, very easy for the guys in the softs to actually get cut through the field, because like this now, Arjun Shah, their tire is now almost 6-7 laps old. And compared to the guys who are behind now on brand new soft tires and that rubber. Not for 120 seconds around the track that we've noticed. But there we go now. Pradyumna Prakash now seems to be in the lead. Ashvin is glitching at the moment. This is in the pits, but I think he is in the lead at this point in time. So I'm not going to say anything until they cross the line. But I'm going to call it as I see it and as you see it on your screens as well. So Pradyumna Prakash right now has gone in the pits finally. So there we go. We've been waiting and wondering when he's going to pit. So
Yeah,
it's been a long
I think Ashwin Lakhwani has pit. Ashwin Lakhwani has pit and has come out. There he's at turn 1.
There we go. Ashwin Lakhwani on turn 1. But is it Arun Shah and Aditya still battling each other? I think Ashwin Lakhwani in the distance, just a little ahead of them. Yeah, there we go. We can see him going across turn number 2. He's just ahead of him at this point in time. But Arun Shah now in second place. So hasn't really truly worked out for him as he had hoped in time with that early pit stop. And getting into that battle with Aditya Patak, they traded off some brilliant racing over the course of the last 13 laps. So they've been inseparable, going wheel to wheel, and absolute respect between these two drivers, not having run into each other, being very, very patient around this track and overtaking only and giving room when they overtake, most importantly. Brilliant racing between the two of them. But behind them now, between Amaan Abdullah and Arun, there's been between Mclaren and the Redbull, there's been some great battles between these two as well. And they've got Kaushik and the Renault as well behind them, the company who's catched up rather quickly. But these two guys now battling for 4th and 5th at the moment. And I wonder what's happened to guys. What's happened to guys like Tanay Singh, Rajdeep Paul are down in 9th and 10th at the moment. Sid Kulkarni in 11th, Karnav in 12th place, Sid Venkatesh in 13th, Aditya K in 14th place, Aarya in 15th place, Dillon exactly at 16th place. He's probably had a couple of mistakes. We know he's rather quick. Ooh, is that a battle between Pradyumna Prakash and Anhydrin's asset who's Aditya K? There is a battle between the two of them. Prakash dodging his way through before they get down the south of the straight. And with that, Diaz is going to blast through as quick as he can because he's trying to make up ground and he's got fresh rubber on. It's only 1 lap old on those tires, so it's great to see him making that move through. And Amaan Abdullah as well with those brand new softs looking way quicker than Arun, so it's going to be easy for him to capture that 3rd place at this point in time. So Arun in this moment we're getting under huge amounts of pressure from Amaan Abdullah between 4th and 5th place, but 4 laps to go now. And the lead out in front, the lead out in front, Ashwin Lakhwani, we know is in the lead, but 2nd and 3rd, still absolutely nothing in it with Arjun Shah, and this is bringing exactly out of that battle because he, from 4.5 seconds last time out, is now down to 3.8 seconds and closing the gap on them right now, so.
Yep, Swaggy Dilly, as we know, he's always had the pace, and with these two fighting it out pretty hard, as we see over the couple of laps, Swaggy Dilly definitely has an opportunity of catching up to them. But yeah, he's done a phenomenal job this race. I think he was also glitched out for a while on the timing screens, but then he's back up into P3. And I'm still not sure what's going on with Ashwin Lakhwani. Maybe he's still glitched out due to an network connection issue or something. But I believe he's still leading on this race because we haven't seen him. Yeah,
he's definitely still leading this race. Ashwin Lakhwani not for sure. But the timing change. Whoa, is that a spin from Aditya Patak? Into the wall he goes. That was a big spin. I think that's going to give Amaan Abdullah now. He's going to take the position away from him. Is that possible to do? Because Aditya Patak, where that spin come from on those older tires? Ooh, Aditya Patak making a big mistake. They're having a little bit of a spin. I wonder what happened with 3 laps to go now. I think Ashwin Lakhwani is still leading this race, and Arun Shah now in 2nd place, which brings Dillon Zakta, who probably be up in the 3rd place, and given that podium because that mistake Aditya Patak made wasn't the best one to do so far. Well.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was just too eager on the throttle and he just dropped it, and that's how I think he lost the rear and went into the wall. But now he's got massive damage on his front wing, and you can just see
he's dropping down the field. Arun and Pradyumna Prakash battling each other between the Mclaren and the Alfa Tauri. This is going to get rather racy between the two of them, and it's top place. But they're about a second away from from Amaan Abdullah right now, the last one on the podium. Not very far at this point with 3 laps to go. It is possible to do so.
Yeah, definitely. He can definitely catch up and maybe challenge Swaggy Dilly for the last position on the podium. And we've seen the pace he's had. I'm not too sure how many penalties either of those two have at this point of time, but if they do have any, then that's also going to be a key factor as he takes the last spot on the podium.
And it's getting better and better and better because as we're going towards the end of this, is what we can see with 2 laps remaining. Ashwin Lakhani, while the game is showing it to us in 15th place, he is leading the race at the moment, ladies and gentlemen. Arjun Shah in second place. Maggie Dilly on the podium now, 4 seconds behind Arjun Shah. So I wonder if he's going to be able to make that time up. I'm very hard to. Arjun Shah is on hold rubber at this point in time, and losing a little bit of time is Maggie Dilly, but managed to maintain that gap. Amaan Abdullah now in 4th place, with Chandra Prakash then in 5th place. So as it settles down, 2 laps to go. You got yellow flags all over the place. We see a lot of guys spinning. No one really setting fastest laps as we go towards the end. Because I thought some of these guys might just slap on an extra, might just slap on a set of brand new softs at the end. And if they got anything to use, people like Sid Kulkarni, Karnav, Venkatesh, and see if they can have that 1 point if they can pull in for the fastest lap. I'm surprised no one's going on down that.
I think I did see Ashwin Lakhani set a couple of fastest laps on his first 3 laps in the soft. So yeah.
I'm talking about right now, right towards the end, where you always see a couple of guys have on just fresh new softs and go for it, because on low fuel they get the fastest times they can. But with 2 laps now remaining, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great little battle between Pradyumna Prakash and Amaan Abdullah, between the Redbull and the Alfa Tauri, the big brother and the little brother battling each other out on this Hangara ring circuit. But Pradyumna Prakash is on much more tire than Amaan Abdullah is, and you can see the kind of pace and traction he's generating out of turn number 3. Man's just out of reach at this point in time, so he's going to get the use of the DRS now on this last lap. So I wonder if he's going to make it stick and get himself in the top, bring him up another place and finish off this. Arjun Lakhani is leading at the moment on this penultimate lap, and a great little battle between these two. And this onboard, you can see how much the graphics per se on this game, absolutely fantastic. And he just outbraked himself. More, I think Pradyumna Prakash has outbraked himself. He didn't expect Amaan Abdullah to break so early, and into the wall he went right behind them. Between Kaushik and Arun and Aditya K, brilliant little battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th at this point in time. Excellent racing all the way up and down the field, considering we're on the last lap now. With 1 lap remaining, these guys still giving no quarter, no inch to each other. The Mclaren battling it out with the Renault. So here we go to see Arun and Aditya K now. The 6th place on both from 6th place. Let's see, he pulls out along down. He pulls out the slipstream around the inside on those soft tires. Boy, must be on the new soft tires. You can see the back end stepping out, kicking out, but gets the job done. But I think at this point in time, Arun now is going to come back on Aditya K. He's not going to let that sit, because it's a long throw down in turn number 4. So these guys doesn't look like it, because it looks like Aditya K now has already tapped him a little bit. Pradyumna Prakash up in the 4th place or 5th place, or because Ashwin Lakhani we know is leading, and I think he's going to come around the last couple of corners now. There we go. We're riding on board Arjun Shah right now. It's a brilliant view of that Renault, exactly like we saw. This is the exact same shots from FP1 in the real game, and it looks so similar, this camera angle at this point in time. But Arjun Shah, as he comes around the last corner, the penultimate corner now into the last corner, is going to finish second to Ashwin Lakhani. I'm just waiting to see if the game is glitched or not. We also know that Arjun Shah is carrying a bunch of penalties, and I wonder if the guy is behind him and is going to drop him a couple of seconds. Apparently not, because I think Suraj B, who's going to finish on the podium now. Very, very well done by Dillon now to finish in 3rd place. And playing the game, you go back now, but I do have a feeling Ashwin Lakhani has won. But if he hasn't, then Arjun Shah is your winner for this evening. But here we go. At this point in time, we're still waiting for a couple of guys to come across the line. There are a lot of guys carrying penalties. As we're going, there we go. Myself, Aarya now hand the 3-second penalty as he comes around the last couple of corners. So a lot of guys still carrying a bunch of penalties with them. So we'll wait for the official results to come on. Then we'll know exactly who's won, because at the moment, Ashwin Lakhani, by my other timing screen, looks like he has won this race. You see a little guy, this is Sid Kulkarni, in the background, showboating across the finish line. But a great little race today between these guys. They've given us action all the way up and down the field. Kept us super
entertained. Seeing some action. I think we just saw an overtake.
Between Aarya and Brandon Zachariah, what is this? 2013 place, yeah, 3rd place off the grid. So they come across the line now. There we go. I think he just might have run out of fuel at that point in time. But the guys behind now finishing as well. So like I was saying, we still be treating some action all the way up and down the field. But it's been some insane action, some really, really great racing. He's trying to finish the race going backwards. Yeah, I think. Yeah. So they do a little snowboard build the race going backwards. He does. There we go. Waiting for his teammate, looking across to him. Race going backwards, but we've been treated to an absolute cracker because the last couple of races that we've had here at Hungary on this new F1 2020 game with UltimateE and Evo India magazine or the Ultimate Evo Virtual GP has been a conquer and an absolute cracker. So because this time out, this 2020 game has not let us down and has seen so much battling between these guys up and down and some new names who've joined the party as well.
Yeah, we've had so much action going on across this last hour that we've been in this game, and it's just so fun to see that we just witnessed Formula One qualifying the real life at this track just a few hours ago, and now we're watching the sim version of it, and it's uncanny how close these two look, the real life and the game, and it's just fantastic job on the graphics.
Absolutely, because this is some really, really good stuff on the graphics. They've done absolutely outdone themselves. It's very, very hard, especially the shot we saw of the Renault of the shot we saw of the Renault of Arjun Shah through a couple of those, to a couple of the tight middle sector, identical to the Renault of the FP1, the helicopter shot. So brilliant job by the Codemasters guys, and of course a brilliant, brilliant job for Ultimately and Evo India to collaborate together, putting this absolute cracker together, where India's top 20 sim drivers have taken part and treated us to some absolute great racing all the way up and down the field. And like I call it, Ashwin Lakhwani now in first place as our time screen now show us. Arun Shah keeping second place, so he looks like he's managed to keep that gap in spite of all the penalties he's got. But Dillon Zakaria brilliantly done because he finished fourth in the last race, now up in the third, and that is an absolute stonker. And brilliant to see him up there in third place. Amaan Abdullah, the first time out racing with us, brilliantly done in fourth place, absolute sure pace. So the new guys that are coming through, Arjun Shah, Amaan Abdullah, Arun, Aditya K, brilliantly, brilliantly done, brilliantly seeing them up there. And these new names, always great to see what these new names can do. Of course, we've got the old guys like Rajdeep Paul, Tanay Singh, Brandon Zakaria, Dillon Zakaria, all field of some exciting racing to the UltimateE and Evo India, Evo Virtual GP here at the Hungaroring. And as we just finished this race, as we finished race number 2, the 18 lap race, the driver there we go, Sid Kulkarni, the box have come in. So he has managed to become our driver of the day. Actually, good driving. We saw him and Aditya P both the Force Indias at racing points. Some super battles all the way up and down the field. And there we go. That is Ashwin Lakhwani celebrating the second win of the day. Unbelievably quick. Came through from 8th place. Had a couple of instances in the beginning, but now has managed to hold top step of that podium and back to where he belongs. So it's brilliant to see Ashwin Lakhwani up there. Also super for Arjun Shah making second place, and Dillon Zakaria in the Williams in third place. So great to see the three guys up there as well. A much well-deserved win. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. So we've had a great little race with us. We've had a great evening. There were some great prizes we won. Ashwin Lakhwani will now win a t-shirt from Evo India, the 100-kilometer merchandise line, and a 1-year subscription to Evo India magazine. It's been great having you guys join us. We saw that there was a live quiz that happened in the race. We will notify you very soon with the winners and what you won. But it's been great having you there. Thank you very much for answering all those questions. From me, Anjan Ashwat and Sohil Shah, and the entire UltimateE team, the Evo India magazine team, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and we will see you tomorrow for some more action. Good night.